Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Welcome to being here. I'm Ariel.
And I'm Shaya. And today we're going to be talking about being perfect is not a goal. It's a given.
And we not only finish each other's sentences, we sometimes
Simul-speak.
So get ready, strap in, let's go.
Well, here's the thing. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here with you in this moment of our lives together.
So thank you right up front
for joining us
and listening.
Right. Listening.
Mm-hmm.
To get the most out of this podcast, listening is crucial. See, we're arrogant as human beings. We think we know everything already. So we don't truly listen to hear what it is we don't know.
How many of you said, no, we don't, when Shai said, we think we know everything already? If you're saying, no, we don't in your internal conversation, that's you thinking you already know. So you just proved the point, because you can know what you don't know. Like you can know you don't know how to program a satellite or a computer. And so you know that you don't know that, but there's a whole range of possibility, all those things you haven't even conceived of.
That's outside your cultural universe. You see, we are all products of the culture we're raised in. And so what we know has been predetermined by the culture we've been raised in. If it doesn't exist in that culture, it can't exist in you because you're the product of the culture, except there are some exceptions. One exception is when you discover how to access and live in the current moment of your life, you're creating life newly in that moment. And in that creation, you can discover things you didn't already know or things you weren't already programmed with by the culture.
Part of it is the simple act of awareness. Awareness is a non-judgmental seeing of something. And as you see your personal reactivity, how your mind can have a stimulus and then it has a pretty predictable response. And you can either follow that response as if it's you, or you can notice that response. As you start bringing awareness to the automaticity, the reflexive reaction nature of your life, you start to have choices. And life becomes a whole lot more fun.
Life becomes an adventure rather than same old, same old.
I personally love this title for today. Today is the first day in probably 2.5 weeks. I am COVID free. I did have a brief period in there where I was COVID free, and then I had a rebound case and it hit me pretty hard. So to be able to be here and be here with you today and realize that being perfect is a given. If I have an idea of where I think my energy level should be, then I'm an imperfect person and I upset myself. If I realize that the amount of energy I have and the vocal quality I have with the congestion that's still here is exactly where I am in this moment, then it's the portal to my own perfection, which is available to me in any given moment. Even if I'm resisting where I'm at, if I don't resist the fact that I'm automatically resisting, I step into perfection once again.
Let's talk about listening, though.
Okay.
See, because listening is not agreeing with or disagreeing with or thinking you already know this information. Listening is allowing what another person has to say to come into you from their point of view, and you allow it rather than question it or challenge it, but hear it, just allow yourself to listen. And when I say allow yourself to listen, you really have to allow yourself to listen because your mind automatically thinks it knows everything.
I just got an interesting picture in my mind. You know, when you take a picture with a traditional camera, it's got an aperture and the thing closes and opens and you get a snapshot.
Yes.
And I just got a picture of things closing and opening. And it's very interesting when listening, you can like try to take a snapshot of something as it goes by, and that actually closes down everything.
Oh, you mean like the important salient points?
That's right.
Oh, I got to remember that.
We had a very interesting interaction at a recent Living Made Easy that was attached.
It is.
Shai is pulling on what he thought was a stray hair, but it turns out it's attached.
I was wondering about that before I started pulling, actually.
Very-
Yeah. Because it looks like your hair, you know,
Yeah,
it's got the thickness of it,
It's very funny. I grow
not your peach fuzz.
I grow funny pieces of hair. At a recent Living Made Easy, we laid out the basics, which is basically feel free to hydrate, but kindly don't eat or chew gum because it's really strange on Zoom to watch people, you know,
Chewing.
don't take notes, just put everything aside, be here with each other.
And that would be good for here too. I mean, you know, but
Things like we don't use the electronic chat system. So if you have something to say, just speak up, say your name, where you are, etc., like that. And immediately there was an individual who started eating, taking notes, and writing electronic
messages,
questions.
right?
And it was such a fascinating
Well, there was
piece.
so not listening. There was no willingness to discover life newly through a different set of rules.
But I gained a new perspective on where most of us start out, that reactivity, where if someone says, don't, it's basically a demand to. And I found it very fascinating that this individual started with such a straight across the board, don't tell me what to do. Where they go from here is not up to me. But I saw a very exaggerated version of myself,
Of who you used
of
to
how I
be.
used to be. That's absolutely true.
Not yourself in this moment, because you now have the ability, should you so choose, to step outside the automaticity of your mind.
You choose it often enough, it becomes a habit. It becomes a habit just to be here as opposed to rail against your circumstances. Let's take our first guest, shall we?
Please, let's.
All right, Michelle, welcome to being here. Kindly tell people where you're zooming in from, please.
Hi, Ariel and Shaya. This is Michelle, and I'm calling in from Manhattan in New York City.
Nice. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. So the word perfection is interesting. In my mind, it's a big word. And I've been coming to your seminars for several years now. And intellectually, I do know that I'm perfect and that I cannot be different. But still, my mind tells me otherwise when I do something that I perceive as wrong or not
Let
right.
me ask you a question.
Sure.
You know how a tape recorder works?
Yeah, you mean you press a button and you record something?
Yeah, well, once you record something, it's recorded.
So if I were to cough right now, achoo, then in
That
this
was a sneeze.
I know that was a sneeze, it was close enough.
Okay.
If I were to sneeze right now,
Achoo.
then that sound, even though it sounded an awful lot like Shia, would be recorded. And when we played it back, that sound would be there forever because it's part of the recording.
Well, your recording was put together by a very immature version of you many years ago. But the base of that recording, where it started, stays the same. And so the recording may change over years, but it basically is the same recording with nuance changes and things that support your point of view about you added in.
Wrote about it in our very first book, Michelle. Write once, read many. The acronym is a worm. It's an indelible imprinting that every time it comes up, it looks new. Like we're here on our Apple computer. If I go to About This Mac, it'll come up with the type of computer it is, the year, the serial number, and it looks brand new. It's pristine. But it was put in place before we purchased the computer, and it's not, it isn't changeable.
It's not changeable. It's immutable. Can't be changed. See, and the moment can't be changed because it's here and gone in an instant.
So you just heard what Shai said, but that moment is already gone by. So one of the things where I think you're getting stuck on the word perfect is you're hearing perfect in a judgmental framework, in a mental framework of good, bad, right, wrong, perfect, imperfect. You're hearing it with the dichotomy attached to it. So it's a judgment system. What is a perfect Michelle? Where really the definition of perfection is whole, complete, immutable, unchangeable.
And lacking no component parts.
So what, you're a scientist, one of the in one of the dictionaries I have when I've looked up perfection, it talks like about a perfect circle. It starts at one, and by the time it connects, you don't know where it starts and ends. It's a perfection. It's a perfect circle. So it's not like, okay, I'm looking for an imperfect circle, one that's like oblong or breaks. There's something in there where your mind is always searching for the opposite. And that's where you get stuck. Rather than recognizing right here, right now, you can only be exactly as you are. And all you have to do is look and see, as opposed to wish you were a certain way.
Well, the certain way you wish to be was put together by a much earlier version of you. You never thought you'd meet the wife you met and married.
That's true.
That was not even a possibility, say 6 or 8 years ago, before you met us, and then through us, Susan.
And a day before you met Susan,
she still did not exist.
She really existed. There was the concept, I'm going to a horse with Ariel and a co-leader named Susan. You may have even seen her picture on the website, but you had no clue
that you would have a chemical chemistry together, fall in love, get married, move to New York City from, where were you, in Zurich or Basel?
Yes, exactly. I lived in Basel.
Right. You're in Switzerland. It was an impossibility. And yet it's happened, and it's happened perfectly. One moment has led to the next, which led to the next, which brought it all to this moment of now.
Yeah, this is so cool.
How perfect is that, man? You know?
I think one of the bigger challenges, and it's a little bit underneath your initial statement, is when Shai's talking about, oh, you met Susan and it led from the next to the next to the next, and here you are, and you smile. Of course, it's easy to see the perfection of things we would prefer. But when you get into the things you don't prefer, like I don't prefer having had COVID or having been sick,
or still in the aftermath of.
I would prefer to have my energy back and my mental acuity back for long stretches of time. So it's easier to see the perfection when we like what's going on. But anytime you resist some facet of your life, you step out of your experience of the perfection. It makes it no less perfect, but you step out of your own personal experience of it.
Yeah, I can see that. And those are usually the moments when I tell myself everything is perfect. I don't know, something that just came up for me was work and a co-worker, and I don't know, I mean,
See,
it's a long,
everything is perfect when it's going the way you want.
yeah.
As soon as it's going a different way than the way you want, it's no longer perfect.
I would be a little suspicious of self-talk.
Yeah, when
If-
you're thinking,
If you're having to tell yourself it's perfect, that's just you resisting your resistance, which keeps it in place longer. Clearly, if you're having to do a mantra of, no, this is perfect, this is perfect, this is perfect, is you
but I hate it.
already being upset, trying to talk yourself out of your temper tantrum.
You know, what I like about casting a fly rod, especially a two-handed one, which in my estimation takes a bit more skill, is that each cast is a unique moment unto itself. And if I try to fix the last cast, the next cast is never a good cast. But if I see what I did and leave it be and allow myself to make a cast, it turns out pretty good. But I notice that I can always find fault, no matter how good it is, it could have been better. And that's your mind. More, better, and different. It will always sabotage your experience.
Okay, ready for a little mind twist?
All right.
Okay, that's your mind's perfect job, to tell you you could always be more, better, or different. So if you start thinking, oh, I'm not so good at this, that's perfect. That's your mind doing its job. It's trying to ensure your survival. It may be full of it, but it's doing its job.
That's really a cool perspective. I haven't looked at it like that.
It's a treat to be with
Well,
you today.
yeah, here's the thing though, Michelle. You think that conversation you listen to is you, and it has you as a fixer-up project.
Michelle's constantly a house under renovation.
That's right. That's it.
That's true. And, you know, I also realized there seems to be some emotional investment into this wanting to be, or wanting to, well, I don't know, I'm getting lost, but there's some,
There's an emotional investment in constantly trying to improve yourself, or emotional investment in what?
yeah, when I'm hard on myself, I can get very emotional about, or angry with myself. You know, it depends on what I perceive I did wrong. And then I can be hard on myself. And it's not just, hey, you did it wrong. You know, it's not just the voice in my head. It's also a feeling that's attached to it. That's anger and upset. So,
But feeling follows the thought.
The
You don't-
thought generates the feeling, and the thought always has I wrapped up in it. I like this. I don't like
I
this.
made a mistake.
I did that wrong. I could have
screwed
done that
up.
better. I. See? And when you catch that when you're using the word I, you're already upset.
Also, I think, Michelle, when you say there's emotional investment, I believe that to be true. If you were to catch that this is an indulgence on your part at this point, I'm not sure you want to catch that, because you want to reserve the right to at least mentally stomp around and be pissed off with yourself. And it's a good leave me alone strategy. Don't request anything.
Don't get
from
too
me.
close, you know, give me my space.
You-
You know, it's funny. People ask us, do we need space from each other from time to time? And the reality is, no, we don't need space from each other, because we're not blaming each other for how we feel.
Okay.
Baby,
Baby may blame us for how we feel. I don't know.
she was just complaining
Sitting at
about the couch.
Yeah.
And I bet she's got preferences too.
Oh, yes.
I imagine every living being has preferences.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This is just great. And thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate your appreciation.
And also your
Because-
willingness to be honest.
Yeah, and look and see. And that's all it takes. You see, transformation is very different than change. Change is about fixing or changing you to some model you have or ideal that you have about what a better you would be. Transformation is a realization that your life as it's showing up is absolutely perfect, exactly as it is, including anything that you would prefer wasn't there. See, it's all perfect. It's showing up exactly as it's supposed to. I mean, you may have preferences that disagree with how your life is showing up. That doesn't change how your life is showing up, does it? It just makes you miserable.
You know, I have one last thing. I know in a recent Living Made Easy, we were talking with your wife, Susan, who's recently been very open about the fact that she had a mastectomy. And one of the things they did to reconstruct the breast was take tissue out of her belly. They made a big incision. They took out blood vessels and fat and tissue
muscle.
and recreated the breast. So the incision on her belly is actually slower to be healing, or one of the slower parts of healing. And recently she really wanted to go to the beach and go swimming and was trying to figure out a way to make that happen. And her doctor had said no. And you turned to her and said, no, don't do it. And she wanted to be autonomous and not listen and figure a way to have it happen, even though ultimately she didn't and had a lovely, lovely day.
Yeah.
But it's that part of her that wanted to reserve the right to not listen.
To be an independent being, as if we are somehow independent of the universe we happen to find ourselves in.
And I imagine that in that moment, you would have really loved it if she would have looked at you, listened to you, and been responsive to your genuine concern and your genuine saying, don't do that.
Yeah.
Equally, when you get into these snits with yourself, these cul-de-sacs of, wow, I did it wrong and I'm a bad person, there are times when she's like, snap out of it, Michelle, this is a lie. And you want to reserve the right to not listen in those moments. And I'm saying there's a new possibility for your relationship should you be willing to listen to each other on a deeper level, even when it's inconvenient.
And the deeper level isn't any deeper. It's just what is in the current moment.
That is so true. And I've realized that when we are in a situation like this, where Susan tells me, no, that's a lie, it's just snap out of it. And really, I feel like I want to fight her and say, no, I am bad, or I did it wrong.
How old are you in those moments?
Of a little kid.
Yes.
This many?
That's what I got.
Like-
that many.
Like 5.
Like 5.
I'm
Yeah.
this many. So, the thing is, you can actually use each other's device. And I found that for many years, Shia will sometimes say things to me that I recognize him saying to a person like you, and I always know when it's accurate. But when I'm in the midst of some kind of contraction and he says it to me, there's still a part of me available that recognizes, even if I don't want to give it to him or don't want to give it to myself or don't want to give it up, I notice the truth, and I'm capable of taking a breath and saying, you're right. Thank you. Or you're right. I'm sorry. Or you're right. Whatever the thing is, you don't want to give up your own personal contraction space, and you can. And if you don't do it, that's perfect. But I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Perfect.
That's right.
Well said. Thanks for being with us today.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I love you guys.
Love you too, sweetheart.
It's time for our listener feedback spotlight.
Okay, so here we go.
We're going to hear from one of our listeners about how transformation has impacted her life or his life. Let's see.
Yeah. And if you'd like to learn more about what we're up to, come, you could register for any of our upcoming virtual courses.
Or sign up for our newsletter. Just visit
transformationmadeeasy.com.
It really is easy.
It is easy if you know the way.
This is Lenore from Montclair, New Jersey. And I have learned in seminars with Ariel and Shaya that my intuition is perfect. I really get to listen to that secret little voice and act on it, and amazing things happen.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
We have our next Living Made Easy 2-hour Zoom seminars coming up on Saturday and next Monday. If you
That's
haven't-
August 20th and Monday, August 22nd.
I'm not sure when you're listening to this, if you're listening to this as it comes out or in the archives, but you can certainly go to our website, transformationmadeeasy.com, and see what's upcoming. If you haven't been to a Zoom seminar with us, they're fun, they're lively, they're intimate, they're not going anywhere, and you're going to enjoy the people who arrive there. They're very eclectic mix from all over the world, and it's really fun being with people, and you're invited. If you'd like a deeper dive into transformation, we have 2 upcoming weekend seminars.
The first is September 17th and 18th, and it's intimacy.
It's a Zoom virtual seminar. It is going to be quite profound. They've gotten deeper and easier and more fun to be with people. The theme of intimacy is not in particular about
Physical.
intimacy. It's more about being where you are and able to experience the profound nature of being with yourself, with others, and even as you touch the things in your environment. So you're invited. Our first in-person course.
In the last 2.5
Yes,
years,
since March of 2020, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, is Being in Nature. It's in New Jersey. It's a residential retreat. It starts on
Friday.
Friday afternoon, October 21st, and goes through Sunday, the 23rd. You can find out more and register for any and all of our seminars at transformationmadeeasy.com. And while you're there, if you're not yet on our email newsletter, feel free to sign up. We give out blogs, videos, articles, all sorts of interesting content. So you're invited. Should we take our next guest?
Oh, I would love to.
Excellent.
Hey,
Hello. Welcome, Sandy. Where are you zooming in from?
I'm zooming in from Austria, a small village called Mittelberg.
Mittelberg.
Nice, great pronunciation.
Well, you did it well. It was easy to repeat back to you. That's while you're talking about that, it occurs to me that is really part of supporting people and listening to you. Is you said it with the intention that we would be able to hear it.
And repeated.
This is something that is not my nature or hadn't been in the past. I've always been a mumbler, and by attending your seminars, this is something you really take care of for people, you know, so they understand, and it's an international group. And I've learned that it's not about me, that all the attention is on me, but it's about taking care of you guys, or, you know, listeners and other people. And that's just a beautiful thing. Thank you.
You know, as a film editor, Cindy, I imagine you'd already been an award-winning film editor. I know no awards.
No.
You got my award. Maybe
Thank you.
I'm ahead of
She's
time.
just being intuitive.
You edit things so people can understand what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling in the early days with one parent who was German, one parent who was American, you had to have some attention on your pronunciation of either language. So you probably learned to kind of eat your words as you said them.
Mm. Ah, okay, yeah. And I also noticed something about that. My parents, since they both did, I mean, my father spoke English, American, and my mother spoke German when they got together, and their German and English capacities were very small. So the language in our household was very basic when I grew up. And that's something I just realized recently, that, you know, my vocabulary, I speak both languages fluently, but there's like big words were not used because we were taking care of each other. My parents were taking care of each other, which is, I thought that was sweet to discover. Okay, but I have a question about perfection, or
Yeah.
because it's like, it boggles my mind. I understand it, and also listening to the conversation with Michelle, it's okay, I got it, but still my mind connects. If something is perfect, it has to be fantastic. So
Well, it
You are
is.
fantastic.
It is fantastic. See, you nullify the fantastic nature of life because you say it's ordinary.
Do you realize you do not have to tell yourself to digest food, to have your heart beat, to
To
breathe,
breathe.
to slough skin cells, to grow hair, to have your fingernails grow? You don't even have to talk to yourself in order to blink. You are this fantastic organism that has all these things going on at the same time.
cool. Yeah, I have a stomach ache right now, and that's probably also a perfect function of the body telling me there's something I didn't eat that was good, or yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Cat is very funny. We can always tell when she has to go to the bathroom.
She makes a lot of noise.
She runs around the house and she's kind of meowing loud. And then when she first did that, I was like, what? And our friend Amy said, oh, she probably has to go to the bathroom. Our cats do that. And it's true. And not pee, but when she has to poop, she runs around and makes a whole production out of it.
Sweet. Okay, I'm trying to contextualize that with perfection, but
Well, but how could it not be perfect? See, it's showing up exactly as it's showing up your life in this moment. Now, how could it not be perfect? Given everything you've done, you've engineered your life perfectly to be on a video call with us right now.
mhm.
No kidding. I mean, of all the billions of people on this planet, how'd you get here with us if it wasn't perfect?
I think one of the things that you're battling is your enculturation.
Yeah,
We've been told so many times that that we're never going to be perfect people. So from that perspective, then it's true. We're always imperfect and always striving to be better. But within that idea, in this moment, can you possibly be any different than you are right now?
Right now. this moment?
No, not at all.
Not at all. So why even bother getting lost in that conversation that leads nowhere?
It's mental masturbation, but without the payoff.
Yeah,
There's never any really good resolution to this.
There's no release.
No release. It's just, oh, please.
yeah. And actually, the conversations only ever happen when I'm, as you were saying, speaking with Michelle, when I'm upset or something's bothering me and I'm trying to convince myself this is perfect.
No, that's when you don't like it, don't want it, and you say it's perfect in hopes it'll go away.
That's true.
It's a manipulation to make it better.
Yeah,
According to your system of what's better.
right. Right. That's how it is.
Sandy, have fun. It's okay to have fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was easy.
Yes, that was easy.
Oh, shout out, by the way, to Stephanie, our friend Stephanie, in Hamburg, who came up with this title and the idea for the show. I know there's more than one Stephanie. This is our friend Stephanie, who works with money in Hamburg, as opposed to Stephanie,
Who
the
works with
visual
paint.
artist. Yeah. If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free, should you wish, to leave a review on your favorite podcast app. And you can certainly share it with friends or colleagues or post it places. Why not? It's kind of fun to share the wealth with people. Next week's episode is the theme.
Rushing to get somewhere.
You're rushing to get somewhere? Boy. We'll be back next week.
So come on back.
And don't miss
Being here.